All right. I guess still a few people signing in over there, but we're going to get started, and that way we can quickly get to the good part of the evening. So welcome everybody to this iteration of AgileTO. Looks like we got a pretty good turnout tonight, so glad to see everybody here. Hope you have taken advantage of the opportunity to network. We've tried to add some time on at the front to give people the opportunity, because that was some feedback that we've definitely gotten over time is not enough of that. So this is a little bit of a change. Other than that, we're kind of reverting to norm in terms of the structure, 2 halves with some interactive activities built into the presentation. Okay. Oh, there we go. Manual, that works. So just a few announcements. We, as usual, are streaming. Obviously, you guys here don't need to worry about that, but if you do want to view the event after the fact, our YouTube channel will have it, and if anyone contacts you and wants to know what's going on, then you can send them a link.
Please subscribe to our channel. That would be very helpful.
What he said. Also have a Twitter account, as most do these days, so that's on there as well, AgileTO_CA. Michael has very generously offered a 20% discount on his training coming up in January, and so the link is here. So make a note of that if you're interested. Few different additional things that have to do with drinking, and I know some people are curious about that. So tomorrow, Agile Drinks have the HBC sponsorship for an event. I don't know, Trish, did you want to speak to this at all in terms of the details, or talk about the anniversary party coming up? Sure. Just kick Gordon out of the way.
Okay, so HBC is partnered with Agile Drinks. HBC is hosting a night tomorrow night to talk Agile. So if you want to join, there's about 130 people that have signed up for it so far. There's a presentation by HBC, and then there's an opportunity for networking, and there'll be all kinds of great food and lovely drinks for everybody. So it's a great networking opportunity, and I believe HBC are looking for people. So there'll be an senior HR person there. So get in and rub elbows with them. Second of all, Agile Drinks. We are part of AgileTO, and we started a year ago, and we're having our anniversary party on October 4th. You're all welcome at Grace O'Malley's. Bose Beer is sponsoring it, so there'll be all kinds of great beer samples. Again, it's a networking opportunity, and we'll have a bunch of nibblies. So come on out and meet your fellow Agilists, and those that want to be, and don't want to be in the work, so. Okay? Oh, right, and tonight, there's an after party. I think I'm the social organizer. There's a theme here, isn't there? Okay. So we're all going after tonight. We're heading down to Lower Simcoe to an Irish pub, of course. I'm Irish. The Lucky Clover. So you're more than welcome to come and meet everyone else that's attending, all right? And it's very informal. I didn't make reservations, so we'll just bombard them, all right?
Thanks so much, Trish, for organizing all that stuff and for speaking off the cuff.
So congratulations to Trish for her promotion to Agile Social Organizer, or we just figured it out. So a few of you who follow the AgileTO Twitter feed probably heard that we tried a little experiment to see if we could get Woody Zool to come up to Toronto. We were hoping for next November. Learned some lessons. Unfortunately, we've had to cancel the courses that we were trying to put on to fund that trip. So thanks to anyone who was interested or signed up. We're hoping to try this again next year. One of the lessons learned is that we need a longer lead time. But if anyone is interested and wants to reach out to us on either Twitter or just email one of us or something, and let us know that there's an interest for you or your company in learning about mob programming and having Woody in Toronto to put on some workshops and stuff. Please let me know, because knowing about interest sort of, might influence whether we're able to sort of try this again. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
There's supposed to be another slide. Maybe we have to go out and reload it. There it is.
There we go. Okay, so for our next event, we've actually got a special guest coming to join us all the way from Australia. So his name is Peter Merrill. He's the CEO of an organization called the Xscale Alliance. Xscale is a practice pattern language that is geared toward equipping Agilists with tools to promote business agility. So agility across the organization as opposed to just within specific areas or functions. So he's going to be on a North American tour. So we've been lucky enough to have him be able to stop by in Toronto and join us for our next meetup in November. So he will actually have some classes on as well. So there'll be some information forthcoming concerning that. All the ticketing is still getting set up, and I believe there will be a discount code for AgileTO people in general. So you'll probably hear about that. If you guys are not on our mailing list already, or if you haven't registered for today's event, please do so, because there'll be some information forthcoming about that. Thank you.
All right. Before I introduce Michael, assuming I can get to that slide after all that, anybody that's sitting over here in the peanut gallery, if you do want to participate in the interactive stuff that's going to be going on, join one of the tables, because there's going to be some group work, some brainstorming happening over the course of the event. If you're perfectly happy sitting over there, then who am I to say you can't do that? This is a self-organizing event to some extent after all. Okay. So, Michael, come on down. I'm not going to do a big intro. I'll let you do that, because I think probably you know better than I do what you do and what you're bringing to the table. So, over to you.
Great. Thank you for having me here, Tom. Thank you for taking your time on your evening. This is one of the things that makes this community remarkable, is the desire and willingness for change. Not just the desire for change, but you're actually here putting in your time and your energy to learn. And so thank you for that, because through all of us behaving that, we can actually change this world. So let's get started. Let's go. So wave 2 of Agile, living the Agile mindset. What I'm going to invite you to consider is that you reflect very deeply in this time of how deeply you're living the Agile mindset. And perhaps for some of you, that's actually a very important thing. The reason that I have this picture is why. What is it a picture of? A path? What's that? Moving forward. A garden. Growth. It's all of these things. We can think of ourselves or our organizations as gardens under cultivation. Another way to think about this is a path or a journey. All of us as human beings on this planet are on a journey of growth and evolution. And the fact that you're in this room indicates that you're some of the people who are willing to invest the most in your own personal growth, your own path, your own journey. And we're going to take a deep look at what that looks like and what the benefits of that are and how this relates to this thing called the Agile mindset. Put up your hand if you've heard of the term Agile mindset before. Keep your hand in the air if you can very clearly explain what it means and someone else will believe you and agree with you. Ah. So there's some sort of fertile ground for exploration to clarify what this agile mindset thingy really is and how it actually has relevance for each of you every day at your jobs and can actually be the key to your success or show you where you are actually creating your own problems and challenges. Let's dive in here. This is fascinating. Why is this page here? What is going on? I have no idea. I think there was a something very happened funny with my slides. I have no idea. Things were missing and disappearing. So there might be some unexpected things. So what I'm going to give you here, because they're challenged with Agile, they're actually very substantial challenge with Agile. And I know what it's like out there in organizations where you're often facing these structures, people aren't really listening, you have leaders saying one thing, but then there's all this other stuff happening. It can be really hard to do Agile, to be Agile, to work in an Agile way. And so what I'm going to give you here in this session is what I call a new hope. A new hope, a way for you to understand a path forward for yourself so you can succeed no matter what your organizational culture, no matter what your role is, or no matter what's going on with your initiative, how you can be more agile tomorrow at work and get better results. That's what I'm going to share with you. So who am I? My name is Michael Sahota. I'm a certified enterprise coach with the Scrum Alliance. I've held that for, I think, 6-8 years now, like 2010. Yeah, so maybe 8 years. It's a long time ago. And I've got 20 years in IT. I started as an accidental software developer after doing a master's degree and half a PhD in computer vision and artificial intelligence and robotics. And very early on, I discovered that creating software was actually kind of a bit of a world of hurt and pain and misery. And I found Agile, originally extreme programming, and I discovered, okay, well, actually there's a very common sense, very normal, rational way to do things that we can do that gets better results. And it just became part of my toolkit. So I've been doing Agile for quite a long time now. And I spent a lot of that time looking at culture, looking at leadership for how do we become successful. And to give you a sense of my role, I've worked as a developer, architect, a manager in organizations of Agile teams, an executive responsible for Agile teams. I've worked as an Agile coach for a long time, Agile trainer. And I can tell you right now that this has brought me to this deep examination of culture and leadership to understand how do we actually get Agile fully working in our organizations. If you're out there and you're applying Agile, you know it's easy to get started. It's often very easy to get started, but it's much more difficult to actually get it fully working. I'm just going to move my microphone because I keep on bumping and it makes this ridiculous sound. All right, let's keep going here. So I'm from AgileTO. This is where I work with my wife, Audrey, and we don't do Agile anymore. Well, we do Agile, but it's not really Agile anymore when we work with organizations. So it's all about culture and leadership. It's all about creating places where Agile can actually work, sort of tilling the soil so when we plant Agile seeds, they actually grow. Some of you may have experienced sort of unfertile soil. So we're focused on this sort of thing. I'll just give you a sense of my background so you understand what information you're actually fully receiving and where it's coming from. 6 years ago, I wrote this book. Has anyone read this? It's a free download you can get. This was my attempt 6 years ago to help the entire Agile community understand that Agile is actually a culture system and start outlining ways that we can start moving forward in the face of this. So if you haven't read it, senior Agile coaches still pick up this book today and read it and send me emails and say, I'm so glad I read this. There's so much more that's clear to me now. Thank you. So I invite you, if you're curious, to follow up. You might want to explore this. So 6 years ago, I had some hypotheses of how do we create successful organizational change? How do we reliably, repeatedly have Agile working successfully, not just in a team here or a couple of teams, but reliably in our organization, across the organization? And what I'm going to start sharing with you tonight is part of that story. is a key part of that story around the Agile mindset. Some other books, Emotional Science. We're actually going to have a book giveaway at the end. The people at the front are going to draw a name at random. And this is what is really an example of a deep exploration of leadership to discover that at the end of the day, how we are as leaders, how our emotions are, how we're reacting to other people is fundamental to how we can support other people. Right? So whether you're a parent or whether you want to become a great leader, this might be something you're interested in. This is the forthcoming book. I've gotten the full download. I've validated the work myself with my own consulting practice. I now teach it all over the world, this culture and leadership training, or Cal 1. And so the book should be coming out probably early next year, which will have some of what we're talking about tonight and a lot more of very deep learnings of how to get Agile working. So just to give you a bit more of my background, this is what I do around the world, Agile culture and leadership training, or is a certified credential with the Scrum Alliance. We've so far trained about 800 leaders worldwide, execs, managers, coaches, to understand and create a shared way to create success in organizations. So let's dive in now to the content. Let's dive in. Now that you know who I am, what I'm bringing to you, what's actually really happening with Agile? Well, it is a true fact that Agile is embedded all over the world. Many, many major organizations have standards around Agile. Almost anywhere. I was just talking to Dorn, who I worked with 4 years ago, and 4 years ago it wasn't clear. It wasn't clear that Agile was, the thing. But now it's penetrated everywhere because software runs our businesses, and Agile is considered best practice for software. So everyone involved with software is looking to Agile to help them with productivity, help them with success. But not only that, people understand that Agile is actually something very brilliant that at the deepest level has nothing to do with software. It's actually about people coming together and working together to create something extraordinary. And so there's a lot of spread of Agile not beyond software. So it's permeating and getting embedded in our organizations as the best practice for how to do things. This is the truth. This is what's going on, right? So let's just check in with you. We're going to use some polling here. So let's just check in with you. Let's listen. It's embedded all over the world, but let's just check with you. If you take out your phone, go to pollev.com/orgs. Trick is not to look at your email. Just go to pollev.com/orgs. And, right, because right? You guys know that, right? Email. Oh, well, just look at this for a second. Yeah. pollev.com/orgs. And we're going to listen to you to see where you guys are here in Toronto. Where are you? We are getting the full benefits from Agile at my organization. Strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. Let's just check out what's happening in the room. Let's just check out what's happening. So when I think of full benefits, I'm thinking like highly engaged workers, a lot of clarity, people filled with passion and joy, pretty much everyone showing up and really enjoying coming to work. You don't have people around who are grousing or complaining. Those miserable people you often see in typical organizations, they're not there. Everyone's just pretty happy most of the time. Of course, we're people and we have bumps and ups and downs, but generally it's like a really great experience for everybody every single day. That's what I think of as the full benefits of Agile. I don't mean like delivering on a 2-week sprint and getting some piece of software built. That's not the full benefit. That's like, table stakes. All right, so we're seeing answers all across the board, right? So I guess no matter where you are, you're normal. Like there are other people in the same place as you. And what we can see here, or what my desire is here, is that everyone is in a strongly agree or agree. That's what we're going for as a community, is to uplift ourselves so everyone's in a strongly agree or agree. And right now we see about 20% of the room, 1 in 5 people are experiencing what they think are the full benefits, right? And self-assessing that way. So let's dive in. Because you guys know this. You guys know that Agile is not actually working perfectly, right? Sure, it's embedded all over the world, but what is embedded all over the world? Something amazing or something that's turning out not so well? Or the thing that's spread is not actually this original Agile thing anymore. So I'll ask you to respond here. This is a different kind of poll. This is the kind of poll where you can upvote other people's answers. So we're looking to listen to you in the room to see what's the shared understanding of people here about the shared challenges with Agile. So if you see ego or lack of knowledge and will to implement it, please upvote these. okay? Or estimation, scaling. What are the biggest challenges that you're seeing with getting Agile fully working, fully delivering benefits in your organization? So we'll give you guys a little bit of time here. For those who aren't using your phones yet, this is actually a good way for you to self-reflect for what your own experience is, and this will actually deepen your learning. Yeah, people need Wi-Fi. I think there's free Wi-Fi here, right? What's it called? It says right here on the floor. I'll read it. It says, the network's wrangle-guest, that's kind of obvious, and the password's innovation, except the O is a 0. Yeah, innovation, except the O is, and it's a capital I, the usual way, but the O is a 0. Anyway, so we're seeing people say lack of knowledge and will to implement it. So people don't understand it and don't want to implement it. We see challenges around ego. You know, we're dealing with people, right? And we're seeing egos getting in the way. We're seeing leadership not willing to let go of command and control. The org structure getting in our way. Estimation being a challenge. Misunderstandings, lack of trust. So just scan through the list. Just refresh your page and just scan through and see which ones resonate the most deeply with you. Perhaps these, perhaps some other ones will percolate up here. So lack of knowledge, ego, org structure, lack of trust, scaling. Like we get started in little pockets, but then we can't grow it, right? So this is pretty normal. We do trainings all over the world with managers, executives, coaches, scrum masters, and this is like normal. People are experiencing very significant challenges getting Agile fully working in organizations. So let's keep on going here. So has anyone heard of this survey from version 1? Yeah, this is like the biggest survey. 50,000 teams at thousands of companies. Someone just decided to remind us to turn off our phones and put them on silent. And if we look at this, company philosophy or culture at odds with core Agile values, 63% of respondents say that there's a challenge. It's like Agile's this round peg trying to fit into a square hole. And it's not really working. This is like almost 2/3 of people saying this or identifying this problem. It might actually be higher than this. Lack of experience with Agile methods, almost half. So not really understanding what this Agile thingy is, right? We checked in here about the Agile mindset, not really being clear on what that is or being able to explain it. So that's not really a big surprise. This next one is startling. Lack of management support, 45%. That's almost half. If you have an initiative and half of managers don't support it, what should you do? Fire the managers. Option 1. Option 2. Train the managers. Option 3. Stop it. Stop whatever you're doing and do something else. I think you identified the first two options are let's do something else. Like we need a fundamental rethink, right? Firing all the managers. I'm not advocating this, by the way. I'm just saying that was way back. That's a fundamental rethink. Training all the managers is a fundamental rethink of what's actually happening, right? That's what's required. A fundamental rethink of what's actually happening. So whether you kill the initiative, whether you do a fundamental rethink, that's what's required to actually create Agile success. Basically what it says, the way we're going about business isn't working. My summary would be say the Agile transformation failure rate is 80%. And this may be understated. So Agile is failing. This is a fact. Right? We're not getting the full benefits. Well, why is that? Why is that? We're all intelligent people. We're well educated. Like why? We have a strong passion to make success. Why isn't it working? Well, Bob Hartman noticed this some number of years back, that the Agile practices and doing Agile is different from the Agile mindset and being Agile. Who's heard of this before? Right? This is the fundamental quandary. So every time you're doing anything involving Agile, you need to keep this in the back of your mind as a guidepost for what is really happening. Wave 2 is about this is where we're going on this journey, on this path, to really understand this dichotomy from doing Agile versus being Agile, what this Agile mindset thingy really is about. I describe it this way, that wave 1 of Agile, we're in wave 1, emerging into wave 2. Wave 1 is about the ideas. Hey, wouldn't it be great if we self-organize? Right? Hey, wouldn't it be great if we have transparency, autonomy? Wouldn't it be great if we had energized, motivated teams? Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it be great if we all were amazing collaborators? Wouldn't it be amazing if we're all great collaborators? Well, let's just check in here. Are all the people in Wave 1 amazing collaborators? Like if you actually put all the people leading the Agile community, the thought leaders and so on, you put them all in a room, you ask them to work together, is that going to turn out very well? No. Why not? Why not? Because if they're living the values, they should be amazing collaborators, right? But somehow that's not what's happening. Somehow even us in this room, we might be great. I mean, I'll speak for myself. I was teaching collaboration for years until I admitted to myself I was a terrible collaborator. I was great about helping and coaching teams, but I was terrible at actually being on a team myself, right? You guys actually came up with one of the key problems here. You guys picked it out right there, ego. Turns out all of us are human beings and we all have an ego. And that ego gets in the way. And somehow Agile, like really great teams, and Agile is about people who have their ego under control. So that's part of the journey where we're going. So wave 1 is about concepts and ideas, people who have the teachings, who have the knowledge, right? Here's the idea, here's the great idea, here's the big idea. We should do iterative development, we should learn, we should have learning culture. In wave 1, we just talk about the Agile mindset. We talk about it. We have people who are experts who talk about the Agile mindset. Now, I think I already did this. Yeah, there's these poll fairies that came in here and now it's not even loading. This is fascinating. Any idea?
Is it automatically update the main domain depending on what page you're on? Can you switch back and forth a couple of times?
Yeah, this is just fascinating. This is great. Remember the Agile Manifesto? This is going to help us here. What's the Agile Manifesto line that's really relevant here right now? Respond to change over following a plan. So like, oh, the plan's not working out very well. This is fascinating. I didn't even know what thing is showing up this thing. Like, is that your system or my system that's putting up those little bars? That's me. I've never seen those before. This is fascinating. It's on my screen, so it's got to be my machine, right? And then it's just freezing? Could my Wi-Fi have dropped? But then I should be able to tab out. Wow. No, it's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. So I can't even go back. Okay. So I know they want to do site maintenance on Saturdays or some Saturday. I don't know. I didn't read the message, but like it's not Saturday today, right? It's Wednesday, right? Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to continue talking because I know what's coming up. So, turns out. So, wave 1 is about the ideas. You guys will let me know if it does something, right? Okay, all right. Actually, I can see this down here. So, wave 1 is about the ideas, about people who have the concepts. Wave 2 is about living the Agile mindset. It's not about having the teaching and being able to explain to others or tell others. It's about us in our own very being, behaving in a way that models the behavior we're talking about. So it's not just about, from the example of collaboration, it's not just about teaching collaboration or telling people, hey, you should collaborate. It's actually being an amazing collaborator ourselves. That's the shift towards wave 2 of Agile, living the Agile mindset. It's actually not just having the knowledge, but having the knowledge applied and integrated into our being and our way of interacting with all other people, right? Because when we come to the root of it, Agile is about people. Fascinating. Okay, I'm going to pause now. And any advice? Reboot, unplug? What? Oh, something happened. Oh, I escaped out, yes. So now I'll check Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi looks happy. Oh, no, you know what they did? This is what they did. This is usability error number 7. A new version is available. We thought we'd tell you in the middle of a presentation in front of 100 people. Does someone want to tweet that to poll everywhere? Please do not update your software in the middle of a presentation with hundreds of people. Okay, all right. Okay. So in wave one, we've seen the result of wave one, right? All these challenges with Agile. In wave one, we've seen that we're not getting the full benefits. So it's not that Agile doesn't work, it's that we failed Agile. We, as people attempting to apply Agile technology in our organizations, have failed Agile. We have not been successful in introducing Agile fully in healthy ways in organizations. That's the truth. We have failed Agile. It's not that Agile doesn't work, it's that we haven't got it working. It's a fact, right? We looked at the data from version 1. You guys had your own poll survey results. So the question is, how can we succeed? So we are the stewards of Agile, and it's time to resolve the conflict. Success requires doing Agile and being Agile. We need both of them. It's not that one's more important, but we need doing Agile and being Agile together. So that means somehow the being Agile, like where we put more effort and time in, the doing or the being? The being? Doing? Put your hand together. You've seen more time, energy, money going into doing. Put your hand, seen more time, money, energy going to being. Okay, the doings win, right? Right, that's where all the time, so we need to restore the balance. And this is what this session's about. How do we restore the balance? So Agile is the problem. The way we're using Agile is the problem. And Agile itself is the solution. If we actually look at really applying Agile, the being part of it, we will find success. You'll find greater success at work tomorrow. We're going to unpack what that looks like. Albert Einstein said this: no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. So we need a fundamental rethink. There is no small tweak that will help you now. There is no little facilitation trick that will help you now. There is no structure, no small tool that will help you now. We need a fundamental rethink, and I'm going to give you what that is. That's what Wave 2 of Agile is about. Wave 2 of Agile is the fundamental rethink. It's a fundamental shift. Wave 2 of Agile is about being. It's about us, all of us. If we say we're introducing Agile in organizations, that we focus on ourselves and living the Agile mindset. That the people who are in front of rooms like this, who are orchestrating events, are not just talking about the process and structures and all these, or talking about the mindset, but are actually modeling the behaviors. So what is this about? How did I discover Wave 2? Well, I was failing. I was a certified enterprise coach. Like there's only 100 worldwide. There's like a really elite designation. And I was failing. I could not get the success that I wanted. No matter what level of leader I was working with, it could be a manager, a director, a VP, a CEO, that I could only help them with Agile as far as they had the mindset in them. So if the manager kind of got the Agile mindset, we could take it up to there. If they didn't really get it, we could only go that far. And I was frustrated because I wanted to help create highly successful organizations. So then I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, first I said, how can I succeed with this? Well, the only way I could succeed is help these leaders live the Agile mindset, help them shift their consciousness, their way of being. And then I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, Michael, let's just check this out. Can you help these leaders grow? Can you help these leaders go on transformational journeys to show up in this way? And then I looked at myself and I said, wait a second. I'm not actually living the Agile mindset. I'm not actually living the values. I am a well-intentioned asshole. This is the truth, right? I looked at the truth, and then I had a choice. I could either grow so that I lived and embodied the Agile mindset, the Agile way of working, or I could give up on my dream of helping organizations. The reason I'm standing before you today is because I chose to grow myself. A long time ago, this was a hypothesis for me. I said, if I change how I show up, I can get others to change how they show up and get extraordinary results. That was my hypothesis many, many years ago, and I've proven that. Not only have I proven that for myself, I now train leaders all over the world that they can do the same thing, and they're doing the exact same thing. Almost every single day, I get an email from someone who's taken our class and get this extraordinary story. I could read you the one from this morning. It's just incredible. of like how, yeah, I went to a new organization, I started showing up in a different way, I started building connections and relationships, and we suddenly started creating alignment, and we stopped trying to make others change, and how suddenly everything's completely different, and there's this incredible success, which she'd never seen any time other in her entire career working with Agile. But this is my epiphany. I am the problem. That's the thing I learned at that time. Here, I'm going to give you some data to back it up. In 2011, so this is, I guess, what year is it, 2018? 7 years ago, this is what someone said to me. I wrote it on a sticky note to make sure I really heard it. I didn't know what to do with it, but I heard it, so I wrote it down. I go, well, they said, Michael, you're too negative, right? You value results over people. Well, it's like, that's not Agile. Agile's about people over process, right? Agile's about people first, right? But in my being, I was valuing results more than people. I pushed too hard for results. Some of you may know some of these things in yourselves, these behavior traps, right? Too direct, painfully honest, little tact. And I looked at these things, I go, yeah, that's true. Like, okay, well, geez, I've been this way for a long time. Like, what do you do with this stuff, right? You write in a sticky notes, you put it on a piece of paper, and you leave it for like, I'll get to this sometime, right? That's what you do with it. And then I did get to them. That's why I'm standing here. So what exactly is wave 2? We're going to take 2 looks at this. 2 looks. We're going to take the individual look at ourselves and a look at the organization so that you can start applying this. The Agile mindset and success starts with us. So it's not about others following the Agile mindset. It's about us and looking at ourselves. It's the doing and the being. Anyone heard this before? Be the change you want to see in the world. That's the lesson. I mean, if I just read this quote and just believed it, I'd be fine. But apparently I needed to do a whole bunch of work before I got it. So I'm inviting you to consider that this is true so you save yourself a lot of time and can move towards action. So this is what wave 2 of Agile actually is. It's saying that, look, instead of just talking about the Agile mindset, talking about the Agile way of working, that we work ourselves at showing and embodying this. So let's look at ourselves. Let's look at ourselves. Let's take the individual look. So what is the Agile mindset? So this is where it's your turn. This is where it's your turn. You at your table groups are going to demystify the Agile mindset so that you leave here with a clearer picture of what it is. Now, before you go into this exercise with sticky notes and Sharpies, I'm going to observe some things. If you're at a table with more than 4 or 5 people, and you want to have some time to share your ideas, I'd invite you to go to a table where there are fewer people. Like there are a bunch of tables at the front and over on this side, or people over this side if you want to come join tables. I invite you to go do that, or people at the back, you're welcome to join any table. But if you get tables about 5 people, that'll give people more equal voice or airtime, which is going to get to better collaboration, okay? So invite any people who want to come up front to do that, and just get started. There's some, where are the facilitators? Could the facilitators hold up their hands? There's some people who are volunteered to be facilitators. They're going to be wandering around helping you support your activity. Now, just to give you a quick set of instructions. Your brainstorm is about what words describe our behavior. So how do we behave? What verbs do we use to describe behavior when we are Agile, when we're living the Agile mindset? Now, what I'm going to invite you to do is, in your tables, if everyone does some writing on their own, and once everyone's finished writing on their own, then you start building a cluster. All right? And if you need help, wave your hands, facilitator will come over and help you, okay? So you're going to brainstorm on your own first, writing on sticky notes, 1 idea per sticky note. Write so other people can read it. 1, 2, 3, go. Just to repeat the instructions, you're going to write on a sticky note what words describe our behavior when we're agile. So everyone's going to write on sticky notes. Once everyone's finished writing, then you're going to try to build clusters. Cluster ideas that go together, put the sticky notes that have similar ideas together to see what the patterns are, see where you agree about what the agile mindset's really about. 1 more minute. Let's take this up. So what we're going to do is everyone's going to grab their sticky notes and we're run to the wall. No. That's you guys know that'd be bedlam, right? It'd be kind of fun, but like to watch, right? But I don't want anyone to get injured. So we're going to ask you to use your phones. And the question is, what word describes our behavior when we're being agile? Right? When we're doing this being agile thing, what one word describes our behavior? All right? So look at what you have there, and if you repeat the same word as someone else, it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, all right? So what one word? So we're going to listen here to see the word cloud that comes up. It's a typo, I think. It's a typo. It's okay, typos will fade. Flexible, collaboration, openness, trust, open. Yeah, it's helpful if you type correctly because it does take the word. I'm just saying, I'm just observing the facts here. There's no judgment here. I'm just saying. Flexible, open, value, trust, empathy, honest, safe, time-boxed, facilitator, adventure, inquisitive, supportive, humble. So just type words. If you hear any of these other words, I'm just reading them aloud. That's true for you. Honesty, kindness, innovative, collaborative, openness, supportive, listener, positivity, inclusive. It blew up? Is that what happened? It all blew up. Oh, the poll is full of no longer accepting responses. Okay, all right. We blew it up. So let's just pause for a minute and look at this. Thank you. I think we got something very beautiful here. So we now have collaborated and co-created the definition. What day is it today? September 19th. Agile Toronto has created a definition for the Agile mindset, that it's about being flexible. So this is how we know we're living the Agile mindset, or are we being flexible? Value. Are we focused? I'm not sure what that means. Is that a behavior? We value others. We value people. Maybe, I don't know. Anyone know what that means? What does that mean? Help. I need help. What's that? Oh, it's about delivering value. Okay, so it's not a behavior. It's about delivering value. So it's kind of two words, but I asked for one word. Okay. Empathy, trust, open, transparent, collaborative, respect. So this is what we're going for. So as we continue to look at this, we want to look at ourselves. If we want to join Wave 2, if we really want to actually get the full benefits of Agile, if we actually want to get greater success, we do that by being flexible, by having empathy, trust, being transparent, collaborative, honesty, respect. These are the kind of words that we can use to help identify what we're pointing to. So let's just check in with you. How important is being agile for high performance? Like if we're trying to get high performance, trying to get organizational results, how important is behaving that way? How important is that? So use your phone, vote, pollev.com/orgs. Some people say critical, some people say very important. Some people say not very important. It's not very important if we're... Some people say important. So we're getting answers mostly in the very important critical. That it's very, so basically, if we look at the averages, it's very important or critical that we operate in this way. That we not only talk about, not only doing Agile, not only talking about Agile values, right? But that we actually behave this way. Think about this. When you wake up in the morning to when you go to bed at night, how much time do you spend behaving this way? With a high level of success. Not doing other things, not being frustrated, not being annoyed, not judging others. We can go with the not list for a while here. It turns out if we're human, there's some work to do to actually fully show up this way. So living Agile is a journey. This first step is to admit, I don't operate that way all the time. That's the first step. And then we've embarked on the journey. Oh yeah, I don't operate that way all the time. I want to show up that way all the time. Then we're on the journey. Otherwise, we're not even in the game for wave 2. So as I see it this way, if time goes this way, and our effectiveness, our personal effectiveness, and how effective we are because we're living the Agile mindset, it kind of goes like this. If we're on the journey over time, because we're investing in our learning and our growth, we're going to operate more and more time that way, and we'll get better and better results. So that's what my experience has been. I'm going to tell you some of the things on my journey. One thing is having a role model. And you can think of who the role models are, the people who inspire you, who say, I want to show up like this person. I want to show up like this person. Could be Gandhi, could be an inspiring leader at a company. Like for me, it's Ricardo Semler, who founded Semco, which is one of these teal organizations. And he has this really extraordinary way of behaving. I mean, he goes to work and all he wants to do is help people discover their joy at work so that when they show up for work, they're so happy. They're doing what they love doing that they're incredibly productive. That's how he's built an incredibly, actually huge, it's not even a company anymore. It's a network of different companies. That's what he's created through that one sense of caring for people. So that's my role model. So I'm going well, do I really work like that right now? Are my thoughts like that? Well, no, not yet. It's a journey. So one of the things that I discovered along my journey was meditation. And at one point I thought, well, my mind's too busy, I can never meditate. And then I discovered, well, actually, it just turned out I needed to get started in a group because then there's this group energy that helps. And that's become like a core practice of mine to get myself into a centered resource state so I can live the Agile mindset throughout most of the day. Personal development, being willing to invest in myself, invest in my personal growth. Not just in skills, I'm not talking about that here, but about shifting my behaviors from these unproductive ones that we all have into healthier, more helpful ones. I've actually been studying consciousness in India. That's where I met my wife, Audrey, who's at the back. And we trained together all over the world. And so studying consciousness in India is I was very interested in this Agile mindset. I thought, well, who are the experts in consciousness in the world? And it actually turns out India's got thousands and thousands of years of people developing their consciousness, seeking enlightenment, and so on. So that I actually went to the best people in the world to get training on shifting my consciousness, my mindset. So that's been part of my journey. And being coached, right? Being so open for feedback, not just having someone coaching me, but asking people around me, hey, when I do these things that are helpful, can you please let me know? And we're going to unpack some of those. Here's what someone who's been through both my Cal 1 and Cal 2 said. Leaders go first, starting with me. This is John Gedge. He's an Australian coach. He says, the most valuable learning for me was understanding that to help leaders go first, we as coaches have to go first. We need to develop not just our skills and knowledge, but ourselves as people. This is what Wave 2 is about. It's about developing ourselves as people. And Agile is about people, right? So how can we not develop ourselves, right? Captain Obvious here. Lots of courses teach you new skills or tools. These led to an evolution of my core beliefs about what I do and how I do it. Right? So he's speaking to the importance of coming to this realization that Agile is about people. If we want to be successful with other people, we have to grow through our personal edges, our limiting habits or behaviors that are actually not so helpful for being successful with people. So what I'd like you to do is to, everyone should know this, but it might be news to you, that we're in something called a Meetup. That implies you meet other people. So what you're going to do in a moment is everyone's going to stand up and you're going to go meet someone new at a different table. All right? You're going to stand up and you're going to meet someone new at a different table. Meeting means you introduce yourself. So take a moment to introduce yourself and then discuss what behaviors could I change to live Agile and get better results. So you're just going to have a chance to share whatever you're comfortable sharing about, some things you know that you do that block you from this. Okay? All right? So just remind yourself of this. What are the behaviors you do that stop you from showing up this way? All right? So on the count of 3, you're going to stand up, meet someone new, and share whatever you're comfortable sharing around this. 1, 2, 3, go. One more minute. Oh. Please take your seats. Good work meeting someone new. All right. There was like a really good buzz here when you were all talking. Sounded really good, really juicy. So that's the individual perspective of living Agile. Let's now take another look, because turns out all of us, we're not just working with other people, we're working in organizations. So there's some very important understandings about Agile, about living Agile when working with organizations. So before we go there, before I share some things, we're going to get you to do some activities. So you're going to clear off your table, And you're going to do a similar sort of brainstorming activity, but this time you're going to brainstorm how you inadvertently, because everyone here is well-intentioned, right? There's no question about that. How did you inadvertently cause damage in the name of Agile, where you did something, you were trying to do some good, and you realize afterward, like, oops, this didn't work. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this turned out so horribly, right? So that's what we're going for. What behavior and actions did you observe? Like, what were the things that you do, the behaviors or the actions that you took that turned out really, really badly that you did in the name of Agile? So clear away your table, make a space, and start a new brainstorm. Everyone's going to write on sticky notes, what are the things you did? What are the behaviors? What are the actions you did that caused damage in the name of Agile? And I just want to let you know, in my career as a coach, I've probably done 80% of all the things you're writing down now. So it's okay. It's okay. You're normal. Doing these kind of things is normal. It's okay. I've probably done these things. Okay. Observing the tone, it's like, oh, people are a little bit more quiet about talking about, how we've caused damage versus like living the Agile mind. Living the Agile mind says, woo, right? We can be like this, woo! But we go, oh yeah, we actually do this stuff. We kind of skulk a little bit, right? It's like, yeah, this is the dirty, dark secret, right? This is the truth. The thing is, we have to go through the truth of how we are to shift into this other way, right? If we just go, oh, let's talk about all the good ways we want to be and just have that happen, we do that. But just wishing it and focusing on that doesn't get us there. What's going to get us there, we're going to look at this a little bit later, is actually going into the darkness, going into the challenge areas, right, to find the real solutions, right? Because if we keep on looking where we've been looking all this time, we won't actually find them. So let's integrate this. Let's listen to the whole group. I cause damage in the name of Agile. And this is similar to the other poll we had where you can upvote. So you can put in some answers. We're not looking for duplicate answers. We're looking for unique answers. So if you see an answer someone else put in that you want to upvote, please do that. Hiding behind Agile. Yeah, some use Agile as a shield. Hey, leave us alone. Or we're hiding the Agile cloak. Ooh, leave us alone. We're in stealth mode. Place blame, delayed fixes, tried to implement before I and the team was ready. Imposed process. Oh yeah, I've done that. Forcing Agile. Yeah, me too. Upset the status quo. Yeah, lots of that. Microplan, telling people what to do, yeah, me too. Yeah, like I said, I've done probably 80% of all these things, right? Maybe more. Judgmental, yeah, that's me too, right? That's the opposite of respect. We had respect up there, judgmental, that's the opposite, just saying. Too much focus on results, yeah, you saw that on my sticky note, right? Valuing results over people, oops. Forcing Agile, right? Well, Agile's all about force, right? Isn't Agile about forcing people to do things? No, oh no, it's not. Shoot, damn. Can't do that anymore. What am I going to do? I can't force people anymore. What am I going to do? Imposed process. We make people do it. That's another way to force people. We make them use this process, right? That's the way we create energized people, right? We force them to do something. That way they're really energized and self-motivated. That's self-organization, right? You have to be self-organized now, right? That's the opposite. If they're self-organized, we can't tell them to be self-organized. They have to choose to. Too much talking and not listening. Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. Telling people what to do. Yep. Imposed process. Yep. Judgmental. Yep. Forcing Agile. Yep. Too much focus on results. Yep. Hiding behind Agile. Yep. Pushy. Yep. Forcing Agile. I've done all these things. I'm so good. This is why I've learned so much. That's why I'm standing here. I've done all these things and discovered they're bad. It does not work out. You do not have to make all these mistakes if you haven't yet. You can simply learn from everyone else in the room not to do these things. If you see yourself do these things, what do? Stop it. The most important thing you do to live the Agile mindset is stop it. Stop the damage. It's really simple. If you stop the damage, even if you haven't learned a lot of great new skills, you'll at least not be causing damage. So even if you do a few little things well, it'll turn out a lot better. Because one negative thing is equal to 5 positive things. So even if you're doing lots of good little things over here, if you do one thing over here that causes damage, it takes out everything else. This is psychology 101, folks. Stop the damage. Now, let's just check in with you. Real change happened when? Because we don't just cause damage. We actually have done things that inadvertently have created success, have created great results. So real change happened when? What did you do when you got real change? Because people here have discovered what real change actually looks like. You listened. Oh, amazing. Being the change. Yeah, didn't rush. We had patience. Oh my gosh, what a concept. We brought people together. We collaborated. We had self-realization of what we're doing. We stopped talking. Yeah. It turns out that if you're talking, you're not listening. Scientifically proven. You may have heard about that. Has anyone read that research paper? They did these studies that they found that people who were talking were not actually listening because they were talking. There's no such study. I'm making this up, right? But I mean, you get it. I mean, you don't need to do a study to know that. All right, listen. We collaborated more. Right? Collaborate means people want to be there. They want to work together, right? Being the change, didn't rush. So what else? What else do people think? Please upvote other ones that you've seen, you've noticed, oh yeah, I did that too. I did that too. So what I'm showing you here is that when we sit together, we can discover that we have the same challenges and we can find the same solutions. Now, what I'd like you to reflect on, for a moment, let's just pause the poll now for a moment. We'll close this poll, except you made mistakes. Yeah, it's called learning, right? Have you ever heard of building a learning culture? Well, it starts with us when we start looking at ourselves. It's not just about learning about process, it's about learning ourselves as human beings. Because Agile is about people, right? People over process. So let's just look at this. I cause damage. So is this Agile when we behave this way? Is this the Agile mindset? No. Is this the Agile mindset? Yeah, when we live in the Agile mindset, we automatically avoid damage and create positive effects on our organization. When we live the Agile mindset, we don't cause any damage in the name of Agile, and we create real change. So the Agile mindset itself is the key to successful organizational change. So I need a demo subject up here at the front. It's safe, I promise. Can I get a demo subject up here? Someone? Great, please come on up. What's your name? Chris. All right, Chris, thank you for coming up here. Welcome. So I'm going to hold up my hand, and I'd like you to hold up your hand, and I'm going to push, okay? Or another engineer. I'm an engineer too. Awesome. Okay, so I'm pushing. Okay, all right. So I'm pushing. You're doing a great job resisting me. Thank you. Really good. Really, I'm pushing pretty hard. This is hard, okay? So you're doing a great job resisting me, right? Right? And now keep on resisting me. What's wrong with you? You were resisting me a moment ago. Do you see what happened? I became irresistible. One moment he could resist me. The next moment he could not. I totally stopped him from resisting. So let's just check. Who was creating the resistance here? Point to the person. Me? Wasn't it him? He was resisting. I felt it. I was, what was I doing? How did I create resistance? I was pushing? Is that true? I felt like you were pushing. I was pushing and, wait, so you're saying that I was pushing and I created resistance. How do you know that? Because I stopped it. When I stopped pushing, he stopped resisting. He couldn't resist me anymore, right? So he wasn't creating a resistance. I was creating the resistance. Put up your hand if you thought resistance was created by the other person. Put up your hand if you encountered resistance, yeah? And you thought it was the other person. Guess who's creating the resistance? You are creating the problems, and you can create the solutions. Good news, bad news. Bad news is you're creating the problems because you're pushing. Thank you so much, Chris. Good news is you can create the solution. All those people who are resisting you, what are you doing? Pushing. And I'm going to walk through some examples of what pushing really means and how to understand how we're pushing. Now, Agile's we'll take questions at the end, so just hold on. So Agile's built, if you're getting okay, good, you're going to get a good learning. So Agile's built on the basis of what? Push or pull? Pull, right? Scrum teams pull work they can finish in a sprint. Kanban teams pull tickets when they're ready. Agile is built on pull. So if we're pushing, are we actually living in an Agile mindset? If you are seeing resistance, it means you're pushing and you're not actually living Agile. Let's unpack this. So there's resistance and there's Agile. When we push, we create resistance. When we pull, we're actually operating in an Agile way. We create green words. These are success words, like you guys brainstormed when you created real lasting change. The green words will help us live an Agile way to use Agile itself to create real lasting change. Another word here is convince. Who's trying to convince someone? Yeah, all of us probably, right? That's not Agile, right? Think about what it feels like when someone tries to convince you. Not so good, right? That's what we do to other people. We make them feel that way. What we want to do is inspire other people. Inspire other people to greatness. That's what being the change means. That's what living the Agile mindset is about. Need to. You need to do this. We want people who want to do it. That's what engaged Teams is all about. People who want to be there, who want to build products, who want to learn, who want to grow, and are there by choice. Drive. We need to drive this change initiative. We need to get a rollout plan and make it all happen. Instead, we want to invite people. Sell. Think about it when someone's called you on Sunday afternoon or knocked on your door or called you on the phone or in the store tried to sell you something. How does it feel when someone tries to sell you something? How does that feel? Think about what that feels like in your body when someone tries to sell you something. What does it feel like? Go away. Yeah, it feels, that's a response, right? But what does it feel like? Defensive. It doesn't feel comfortable. Like, it feels like that icky feeling, right? Think about it. How successful are you going to be selling and creating icky feelings in all the other people? No wonder they don't want to talk to you. No wonder the Agile initiative is failing because you're not actually acting in an Agile way. Well, what's Agile? Agile's listening. That's what great salespeople actually do. They say, oh, what's up with you? Oh, you want to talk about this? Okay, what's your problem? Oh, I got some ideas. Do you want to hear them? Oh, okay, sure. Or no? Okay, sure, right? Great salespeople listen. Tell. Who's seen this? That you're being told you have to do Agile, right? Agile is about co-creation. Collaboration. That's what Agile's actually about. So here we're seeing that Agile is itself the solution for how to make Agile work. We just simply need to live the Agile mindset. We just need to follow the actual teachings of Agile to make Agile work. It's actually it's extraordinary. That's how brilliant Agile is. This is wave 1. This is wave 2. I'm inviting you to shift into wave 2 of living the Agile mindset, where we actually live the values of Agile to create success in our teams and our organizations by showing up in a fundamentally different way. So I'd like you to stand up in pairs, meet someone new. This is a meetup. Stand up, meet someone new, and discuss what are my behaviors that are blocking my success with organizational change. So where are you falling into the trap of the red list? And where can you grow into the green list? But just focus on the red list. The most important thing is to focus on the red list and be really honest with yourself. It turns out, I'm going to share one more piece of information with you. It turns out, I'm going to tell you how your mind works. Psychology 101. Does your mind seek pleasure or pain? What does your mind do? Pleasure. Your mind seeks pleasure. A little bit of the time or all the time? So this is what our minds do. Day after day, we seek pleasure, 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 right? So we never look at the painful things that we're doing. And what happens? Do we change as a person? No, we stay the same because we keep on seeking pleasure. The way to change how you're showing up in the world, how you're showing up in your behaviors, is to look at the pain. This is the secret of personal growth, is you look at the painful stuff and you see the truth of it, and then you're going to grow. So you're getting a chance here to start your growing journey, to start rewiring your brains, to start shifting your behaviors by looking at the truth of it. This awareness alone will start the rewiring process of your neurons in your brain. Because you're saying, oh, I do this thing. Yeah, wow, look at the damage I caused with this. So stand up, get into pairs, meet someone new, and discuss what behaviors are blocking your success. 1, 2, 3, go. 30 more seconds. Okay, please take your seats. So congratulations for looking into your inner being to look at the behaviors that are creating challenge for you. That's the first step of growth. But the thing is really, how can we change our behavior? Actually, I was asked, to SafePort you to let you know that we'll probably end about 8:10. 8:05, somewhere like that, and then have actually there's some giveaways and some we'll have time for Q&A. So how can we change our behavior, right? Because it wouldn't be very good for me to leave you in this place of saying, oh yeah, I do all this stupid stuff, I suck, and it's creating all this damage around me, right? That wouldn't be so cool. So we're actually going to give you a very powerful technique you can use to shift any behavior in life, to rewire your brain to get new neural pathways. So where we're going to the 4A's conscious leadership model. This is a model that I created based on some very deep teachings that I learned in India and other places. So let's go through it. Viktor Frankl said this: between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. You, as a conscious human being, have the freedom to choose what you want for your life. And there's a little space in our inner being where we can bring our awareness to choose what happens. This is what we're going to use to help you rewire your behaviors, your habits that are no longer serving you. Here's how it works. Stand in the truth. We talked about that. When we stand in the truth of what we're really doing, there's a chance for growth. Most of the time, we seek the positive path in life. We avoid looking at this, and we stand in self-deception and lies and denial. There's no growth over here. Growth lies from standing in the truth. So here's how we stand in the truth. This is how the 4A's conscious leadership model. It lets us know step by step exactly how to stand in the truth. The first A, that's why it's called 4A's, right? There are 4A's here. First A is for awareness. Awareness. We start with awareness. Once we have the awareness that we're doing some negative behavior pattern, then we begin to have the chance for our brain to rewire and the habit to shift. That's the starting place, right? So if you're not aware of what damage you're causing, it's really simple. You just ask people around you all the things you're doing that are not helpful. Everyone will tell you, right? The only limiting factor is you have to choose to ask them. Kids are really great. If you say to your kids, hey, I notice I'm not such a good at mom or dad, so could you tell me what I'm doing that's not so helpful? They'll tell you, right? It'll be the happiest day of their life, right? They'll tell you, right? Because they're really interested in you being a great mom or dad, right? Because they benefit. All right, so awareness, first step. Second step is acceptance. Acceptance means that you're in the place of truth. You fully say, yeah, I do this thing. And not only that, you see the damage it causes in your life. You see the damage to relationships, the damage to success and what you're able to achieve in your workplace, etc., etc. The opposite of that is denial, self-deceit, self-deception, and there's no growth over here. So this is the next step, is acceptance, that you're 100% in acceptance of, yes, I do this thing. In my case, from the sticky note I had, yes, I valued results over people. I totally do that. I do this again, I do this here, this is the consequence, this is what happens in my relationships. That's what acceptance really means. The third A is for aspiration. What do you hope for yourself? When you think of your role model or the kind of leader you want to be, the kind of human being you want to be on this planet, whether living the Agile mindset or some other thing that inspires you. What do you desire around this behavior? How do you want to show up? So my example would be valuing people much more than results. Not that we don't care about results, of course we do, but we value people more. We think about the people involved in every situation before taking action. That's my aspiration around that one. The fourth A is ask for help. There's two versions. We'll give you one version. One version is very simple. Ask people around you. Ask people around you who are interested in helping you grow. You could call this an accountability partner. You could just explain to them, oh, I do this thing. Yeah, it's the truth. This is the damage I cause with it. This is my aspiration for myself. If you notice me doing this thing, could you just let me know? And people who want you to be a great leader, a great mom, a great dad, a great human being will help you. So that's how you ask for help. Now what I'm going to ask you to do now is to use the 4 A's to examine behaviors you want to change. Perhaps where you're pushing, perhaps where you're not living the Agile mindset. I'm going to put in some music, and you're going to have 2 minutes for self-reflection. 2 minutes for self-reflection. You continue this later after the meetup's ended, tomorrow, later this evening, or perhaps this weekend, when you have some time to look at this. If you really want to grow fast, if you really want to have great success and change, you'll spend time on this. So we'll just give you 2 minutes now. If you don't want to write, just sit quietly and reflect on your behaviors. Just take 2 minutes. 1, 2, 3, go. There should be audio here, if you can make sure it's playing. You got no audio? Okay, I'll go to iTunes. So you can start writing while I pull up the music. Maybe bring it down a bit. Just go through the 4 A's for each behavior. Awareness, identifying it, accepting it and seeing the damage it causes, what your aspiration is, and who you can ask for help in supporting you growing. For each behavior, just go through the 4 A's. Take another 20 seconds. Thank you for your courage in looking at yourself. When we all look into ourselves and shift the things that are creating damage with our personal relationships, our professional relationships, with our work, with our teams and organizations, when we look inside to make these shifts, we make all of our interactions better. We can live the Agile mindset and create better results in all aspects of our lives. So, let's go to closing. Agile, or at least the way we use Agile, is the problem. And Agile itself is the solution to overcome these challenges. You, in your being, in your actions, in your behaviors, hold the problem through not living the Agile mindset, the pushing, all these other things. You also hold the solution. This is the good news, bad news scenario. Bad news, we hold the problem. Good news, we can just make the change. We actually hold the solution. And we can simply look at ourselves. The 4A's Conscious Leadership and a lot of other things that are here in my blog, you can go read up, get more details of it. You can go apply this yourself immediately. You don't need to pay money for training. You can just simply go do this. Albert Einstein said this, I'll remind you of this. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. To create success, lasting success, the way we'd like with Agile requires a fundamental shift. Wave 2 of Agile, of living the Agile mindset, is that fundamental shift. And we're not asking us to do anything other than Agile itself. So it's coming back kind of to the root, to the heart of Agile. And the Agile mindset succeeds and starts with us, not with others. When we live that way, we inspire others to live that way. It is hard work. It is hard work. And we are not perfect human beings. But every little step we take to shift our behaviors that are causing damage and destruction has a huge impact. I've seen this myself. I've seen the people I've trained all over the world. It works. So what we're talking about is I'm going to just mention this here. There's stickers with this to remind you about this on your table. Instead of focusing on Agile, or even the organizational cultural environment that we want to shift and create so that Agile actually works, instead of focusing on the leaders, why aren't they doing their jobs? Why aren't executives modeling the change? Why aren't they behaving this way? Each and every one of us, no matter what our role, no matter what our authority, without any budget, can be the change. You can do this tomorrow. This is what Wave 2 of Agile is about. It's about this fundamental rethink from just ideas into actually being and living and embodying Agile, which is, we call that, some people might call it true Agile, right? So coming back to where we started, there's hope. You can succeed no matter what your culture, no matter what your role, no matter what your initiative, by showing up differently, by interacting differently. A waterfall team can collaborate in extraordinary ways if they choose to. It has nothing to do with waterfall. It has to do with the choices people make. Scrum does not give you that. Scrum's a wonderful thing, but it's just a process. It's all about the people. That's what the Agile Manifesto tells us. So my question is, what do you choose for yourself? What do you choose for yourself? And I have to play the video now, apparently. It's good that I write notes to myself, otherwise who knows what would happen, right?
Life boils down to a series of choices. Before long, the choices you make and the ones you don't become you. But which you? Worse? Better? Someone you can't even recognize? It can make you question everything. Whether you're strong enough, good enough, all choices lead you somewhere. Bold choices take you where you're supposed to be.
Thank you. So we'll take a few questions, and then we'll do the giveaways, and we'll take some more questions. Tom's got a mic. Or you can stand up and use your leader voice.
Organization, right?
Yeah. So the question is, well, to create an agile mindset, you need to drive that agile mindset. Well, what happens when we drive? We create resistance. When we drive, we create resistance. That's the truth of it. Resistance won't accomplish anything. All the red list is just, you can keep as much of the red list as you want. It just helps you fail faster, right? Like not succeed ever, right? Cause damage. So you can get rid of a little bit of damage causing, get rid of all the damage causing is total freedom. So the question is, let's actually come back to that. Let's come back to that. Let's go back to that one piece with this list. Lots of people really like this list. So put up your hand if you've been to a good party in your life, a really good party where it was amazing, right? Was it built using the red list or the green list? How did you create the party? It was really built with the green list. There's no really amazing party on earth you can build with the red list. That's the staff party nobody wants to go to, where you drive them to this, like, woo! Like my invitation to you is to look and see where people drive you to do things, how much you enjoy that, and how that makes you energized and engaged. So just, got it? All right, another question. Yes? Yeah, so I'll just say, so this is a whole other talk. I just want to give you a flavor. We're talking about that here. The part we're talking about here is that all starts with us. Put up your hand if you want leaders to behave differently. The change starts with us, right? When we behave differently and we invite leaders, this is the transformation journey I was on, is working with organizations. To get the leaders to show up differently, to create an organizational cultural environment where Agile can actually work, or digital, or DevOps, or whatever your flavor is that your organization's doing. In order to get it to work, we needed the healthy organizational culture, because if we've got a great culture, Agile just works, right? If you've got a really positive culture, Agile just works. You just drop it and it just works, right? Well, who are the people creating the culture? It's the leaders. Well, how do we get them showing up that way? Well, we have to go first, right? Whether a manager inspiring people who report to us to go first, or a manager inspiring others who are peers to go first, whether we're a scrum master, we need to inspire other people to show up as amazing team members and amazing collaborators by showing up that way ourselves. Otherwise, we're trapped in wave one of Agile. We're probably pushing. We're probably not asking for permission. We're probably not inviting. That's why the change starts with us. Okay, great. Another question. Who is next? Maybe here? Or Mike's? We'll go with the microphone.
Yeah, this is Abhishek. How to handle the transition between doing Agile to being Agile? So I see that there's lots of resistance between yourself as well as like team. So is there some framework or some methodology?
You just stop causing damage. You just look at your behavior every day. Where am I causing damage? Where am I pushing? Where am I not living the Agile mindset? If you just inspect and look at your own behavior every day and use the 4 A's to grow, you're going to start creating more success. It's actually astoundingly simple. You don't need to learn a new technique. You don't need to raise your IQ magically somehow. Everyone here is smart enough. Everyone has enough skills. The problem is that we're actually sabotaging ourselves by operating in this red list way, by not acting in the Agile mindset. And by looking at our own behavior, we can shift the behaviors that we have that are unconsciously causing damage, right? This is my epiphany. I was this well-intentioned asshole, right? So hopefully no one else has that thought about themselves. And you notice some other challenging edges, though, that you can work through. I'm going to announce some winners. So for this book, Emotional Science, this is really what helps us look inward at how we're showing up as leaders and actually understand how emotions work. Some people who read it go like, oh, yeah, well, now I actually get it. Why don't we teach everyone this? Vivian Zhu, you're here. Congratulations. All right. And we've got 5 sets of our decision cards. So I'll just tell you what they are and read all the names. These are a way to unlock the power of decision-making in organizations, which is how we actually create intelligent self-organization. The stuff with Scrum where, hey, you guys are self-organized now, go, have all the freedom. That's actually incredibly damaging to people and organizations because as we give away power, we actually have to grow and develop people. Those two things go hand in hand. So just giving away power and self-organizing willy-nilly is actually incredibly damaging for people and organizations and damaging for performance. So default Agile is actually really, really unintelligent. So these cards can help you unlock that. There are blog posts that go with it and so on. There are 5 names I'm going to read out here. Just come on up here and grab a set of cards. John Purdy, Dave Bickers, Mike Lee, David Boyle, and Ovi Komanichu. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're missing one person. We've got one more here. There we go. Well, I got some backup names in case something goes wrong. Yeah, there's some that were different versions, 'cause that's why they're different colors. Sundar Mutuk. Sundar, are you here? Great, here you go. All right. Okay, let's continue the questions.
Hey, I was wondering if you could put the red and green list back up for a sec.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a Scrum Master. I've been Scrum Master for about 10 months now. And what I'm finding with one of my teams in particular is that the ceremonies are not getting the value out of them that that we're told, hey, here's why you do these ceremonies. And I feel like because I ran away from a project management role, at a previous company, I'm actually very much on this side. I feel so. This is less of a question, and I wanted to run it by you quickly. When I was speaking during the second meetup session that you had, I was like, well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm being too passive. Maybe I need to look harder for those things that are going to pull and inspire my team. And that's actually where I'm falling short in terms of Agile, because I feel like I'm doing all these things rather well. So kind of 2 parts. 1, does that sound about right? 2, have you seen this before and have any other comments or advice?
Sure. What's your problem with this situation?
My problem is that our ceremonies seem static. They are not changing in a way that is improving how the team works.
Okay. How's that a problem for you?
It's a problem for me because I feel like it's my role to help to facilitate the team to become higher performing.
Okay. And how is that a problem for you?
It's a problem for me because I feel like I am trying. I feel like I am doing good things. And the good things are not leading to the outcome I'm expecting.
Right. What does the team want?
That is excellent. The team...
This is called listen, right?
For sure.
You want to know this, right? What does the team want? Are they happy with their level of performance?
Oh, they are frustrated with aspects of how they work for sure. I've listened to those reasons that they're unhappy, and I've tried to one by one kind of address them in a retrospective, address them, this way and that way.
Right.
And for some reason, I'm stuck on the ceremonies, not from my point of view, improving.
Okay. How are they working for the team? From 1 to 10, what would they score? What do they score them from 1 to 10?
Oh, I did this with my other team, and I could tell you exactly. I think it would be middling. I think it would be.
And how well do they want them to work?
I bet very well, but I don't know for
sure.
sure.
I'll give you a simple tip. What is your stand-ups are working well?
I think
so. Or they want to improve them?
I bet they could have ways to improve them. I'll bet if I asked them, they would say there's some ways to improve.
Like, this is where it's about listening to the team. What do they want? Where are they? What do they want to have happen? Right? And connecting with their desire. If people have a desire to do things, they'll do it. Part of it might just be simply structural. Like the way I learned retrospectives are, everybody walks out of retrospective with one thing they intend to do differently in the next till the next retrospective, and the next retrospective you check in on everyone. So there's a personal responsibility. It's not like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we did this stuff? It's, no, everyone writes a sticky note that says, in the next week, in the next 2 weeks, I will work on this. And they stand up in front of their peers and they report back, this is what I worked on and this is what progress I had. So it might be some basic structural thing if you're already over here. So congratulations for doing the work. Okay. All right, good. And ask your team. Ask your team. You can give them this list or check in with them and just say, hey guys, where am I pushing? Where am I not listening to you? Yep. And you might find something surprising. Yes.
Hello, it was a great presentation and I really learned a lot of things today. Quick question about the 4 A's that you mentioned, right? Awareness, and that's a good topic to discuss, but could you elaborate how do we self-aware of ourselves? Like, what are the how do we make sure that we are in that?
You just ask other people.
Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you a funny story. I was becoming aware of these personal edges I had where I wasn't living the Agile mindset. So I was visiting my friend in California. We went through high school together. We gone through university together. And I said to him, I said, hey, I notice I do these things. How long have you known that I do these things? And he goes, well, pretty much since I met you. I go, well, if you know I do these things, why are you my friend? And he goes, well, nobody's perfect. Everybody around you knows the stuff you're doing that's destructive and not helpful. And if you ask them, and you really ask them, and it's safe for them to tell you, and you're not going to go crazy on them, they will tell you, right? If they're able to. Some people may have their own edges that they can't tell you. But people will generally say, yeah, this is the stuff you do, right? And it's really easy to find. We just have to have the courage to look there. Thank you for that question. I'll take one more question, and then let's probably move towards wrapping up. Last one.
Hi, one last question from my side. Many organizations follow the hybrid-based model these days, which is a mixture of waterfall plus agile. I've seen, I've worked with, in my previous assignment with Accenture, I've faced a lot of challenges where the organization was working on this mixed model. What do you think? There were a lot of they said that they were focusing on agile, but then especially they were roping in the client, trying to deliver the value, but then there were a lot of pushes that were happening. So I just want to understand when we have these type of hybrid-based models, how do we move from these hybrid-based models to complete agile?
So the question is, we have certain ways of doing things. Let's come back to the slide about doing agile. Where is the value? Where's the high value? In the doing or the being? The being. The being trumps the doing. The being is the high value. Or all this stuff around how we're structured, what our process are. This is like a red herring. This is the red herring of Agile. The real true value, the unlocked success, is around the mindset. Is when people are engaging with each other, there's trust, there's collaboration, there's safety, there's all these things. We're going to get extraordinary levels of performance. That's what Agile is about. So we're inviting you with Wave 2 to go to what Agile is really about, right? Once we're there, we'll figure this stuff out. We're all smart people. We'll figure out what to do around process and structures and how to communicate. But the problem is when we're not operating in this way, we can't even figure this stuff out because we're not collaborating, we're not aligned, we're not listening to each other, right? We're operating in red list. We're not operating in green list. We get together, we co-create, we listen, we'll discover our solutions. And every situation is different, so you'll discover different solutions in different places. That's called natural. Thank you so much, everyone. Hope you have a great evening.
Thanks so much, Michael. A small token of thanks
great.
for
Thank you.
taking the time for us.
Okay.
Everybody, if you could tidy up the tables, if you've got beverage cans and sticky notes, things like that, just tidy them up. There's a bunch of garbage cans over there. And thank you all very much for coming out. And remember that we have an after party down at Lucky Clover's if you are so inclined. If not, then I will see you in a couple of months.